Well, Krista, Scott Dixon knows a thing or two about getting to victory lane here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and I want to get your perspective as an Indy resident, kind of the mood as you build into the month of May and you start with the Grand Prix here this weekend.
Yeah, it's cool. I think, even the weather helps, man. Like, you're miserable pretty much for about 4 months with some snow and a bit of sloppy mess. But, yeah, it's cool to finally get here on track, and we test a little bit outside the window. But gearing up, especially for the Grand Prix, it's a nice, smooth transition into, the hectic, 2 weeks that we have for qualifying and then the oval. But it's the biggest race in the world, man, so everybody's happy to be here.
How is this atmosphere this weekend for the Grand Prix different? Like you would say, my neighbor will come out and I can kind of hang out with them. It's kind of a different atmosphere this weekend, isn't it?
It's a different vibe. I think the enormity of the 500, almost 400,000 people, just the chaos that's going on, it's hard to get into the track. The road course, again, kind of just eases you into it. It's more of a family atmosphere. You can sit on the bank, you can have a picnic, you can have a couple of quiet beers, opposed to, what we have for the 500. So I think it's a great addition that they've had to the month of May, and definitely for the drivers, man. The track, the layout provides great racing, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, your drive in this race last year was phenomenal. You had to start in the back, but you wound up finishing second. So what is this track like for the Grand Prix, the road course here at IMS?
Yeah, last year I think was really good, just for the sheer fact that the Firestone brought a tire, the black and the red, that had quite a big difference. So you had a lot of people trying to manage that program and trying to go as short amount of possible time on the black and spend the rest of it on the red. But I think here you got long straights, big braking zones. You're almost 190 miles an hour into turn one, first gear, 45 mile an hour corner. So it's. I think last year we stood on our own toes for qualifying. Started 18th or 19th, but we're able to come through. But it's one of those tracks that if you do have a fast car, you're going to be able to move your way to the front.
Is it important to have success on this weekend to kind of build that momentum into the rest of the month of May for the 500?
I think if you do, you'll say yes. If you don't, you'll say it doesn't matter at all. But I think everybody. What's lingering in the back of the mind is the Indy 500. Yes, we're here. It's a different weekend. It's the Grand Prix. You're going to try and win. It pays the same amount of points as the majority of the races, but everybody's thinking about the big one.
3 weeks off. I'm interested how you kind of manage that. Are you one of those guys who's like, oh, I want to get in the car, or do you take that time and kind of refocus yourself on this race?
I got kids, man. It's chaotic all the time, whether it's horse riding or dance recitals or, school events. But, I think this actual break opened up for a lot more charity events too. We had the Mutt Strut, Hinch had a charity event. We had Linda Vaughn's prelude last night. Right. So it's been a different vibe, but we also had tests. Honda had a manufacture day out here. Right. We had their combined tests on the oval earlier. So it's still busy, but it's really been nice, I think, for the teams, to have a little bit of lull, for them to catch some air and a breath. Before we get into this chaos of almost 8 weekends in a row.
I want to talk about the start of the season of 2019 for the 9 team. 3 podiums in 4 races. Clearly, you've had the speed. Is this maybe the best start the 9 team has ever had to a season?
It's one of the better ones for sure. St. Pete was normally, if we were in the top 20, that was a fantastic weekend, just because we would crash or whatever had gone on. But yeah, we've had some real good consistency. I think Coda, had we not, missed the caution in that, we would have been fighting for a podium there too. But the unfortunate part is that, Rossi and Joseph have had, phenomenal weeks too, 4 races. So we'll see here. I think once we get kind of through into this, summer stretch, we'll see some, separation maybe or some guys making mistakes. But the competition right now and the teams are just so good, man. It's cut through the whole season.
Well, Scott Dixon certainly has shown a lot of speed early in 2019, Krista, but he would love to turn that into a win here during the month of May at Indianapolis.
Hey Motorsports fans, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe before you go for all the latest news and highlights across motorsports.